Hello Tallahassee and welcome to the Friday edition of FSU weather. 79 degrees and partly cloudy, winds from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour, and a beautiful day here in Tallahassee. A little bit on the warmer side compared to last week, but still sitting in the 70s and 80s, 77 in Donaldsonville, 79 in Quincy, and down to 76 in Apalachicola. The only real issue right now is we have a little bit of muggier air in the area, so it is going to cause a little bit of humidity, but overall temperatures feeling very nice. We also have a polar jet stream that we're going to talk about later in the show, and we'll be able to explain to you what exactly the polar jet stream is and how it affects your weather all the way down here in Tallahassee, so be sure to stay tuned for that. On tonight's show, warmer than average temps on Saturday, so we are seeing a little bit of a warm-up Saturday, but some relief with rain chances perhaps on Sunday, and we'll have a jet stream talk, and we'll tell you about how exactly something in the polar regions can affect all the way down here in Florida. All this and more on tonight's edition of FSU Weather.
Hello, welcome to FSU Weather. I am meteorologist Hayden Wilder, and hopefully it shows a little bit of a preseason of the spooky season coming up for you guys. We have some maybe cold weather coming in for the northern parts, maybe some severe weather, definitely some ominous times, perhaps some spookiness. So, headlines. That sun today kind of looked like a ball of butter out in the cam, so something to keep an eye out. And the ball might be a little bit like butter out in the football game because it's going to be warmer than above temperatures. Temperatures will be in the lower 80s for the game. So definitely some warm conditions, bring that water, maybe bring some sunscreen in October. Additionally, maybe some rain on Sunday. So for any of those post-game festivities with your parents, you might want to bring an umbrella. And then, of course, talk about jet streams and cold fronts. We're going to educate you a little bit on the weather today. It should be a great show. We have a great staff. We have Robert, we're going to do friends, and Melissa, my former student, and who I've known for a long time. So it's just going to be a swell show. And now we're going to head over to the green screen with her and see the forecast.
Thanks, Hayden. Definitely having a great time spending the show with some of my favorite people on FSU Weather. But currently looking at Tallahassee, 79 over Doak Campbell Stadium, and partly cloudy. Those clouds just starting to set in. That big ball of butter is starting to set in the distance. Really a beautiful night, and one of the best nights we'll have for maybe the next couple days, which we'll look out here in a little bit. For the FSU Res, same thing going on, 79, partly cloudy, a beautiful night if you want to head out to the Res. Watch the sunset, maybe you can catch it if you leave now. And maybe bring a jacket because it might start cooling down as that sun starts to set. Panama City, again, same thing, 80 degrees, partly cloudy. A little more clouds there, a little bit farther west, and a little bit of a breeze coming through there as well. Our almanac shows higher than average temperatures for this time of year, a complete 180 from what we saw last week, where we had some record lows for this time of year. Thankfully, not quite at our record high, and still staying above our record and average for our lows as well. So again, a complete opposite of what we saw last week, where we had those record lows, really cold conditions. No clouds in the sky, or no rain in the sky right now. Some really nice conditions there as well. So if you want to go stargazing, might be a good night, maybe see a little bit of stars, especially if you go a little farther north. But again, beautiful night to go out. Enjoy your night, enjoy your start of your Halloween weekend before maybe some rainfall sets in. Currently across the entire area, seeing high 70s, low 80s, a little bit cooler up in South Georgia with 73 in Thomasville and 76 in Valdosta. But still, seeing those warmer conditions that we don't really want to see for this time of year, and our dew points aren't helping us out a whole lot. Dew points are sitting in the 60s for pretty much the entire area. Apalachicola, closer to the water, a little bit higher. But again, it's going to be humid out there, especially with those hot temperatures during the day. And it's going to keep our diurnal range a little bit lower than what we saw the last couple weeks. So for tonight, temperatures still dropping down into the 60s for tonight, and maybe getting a little cool with that wind and cloud cover setting in. Might want to grab a jacket if you're going to start your Halloween festivities. Future radar. Wind is going to be coming in from the northeast, and cloud cover is going to continue to persist, perhaps coming a little bit more cloudy as we go through the weekend, associated with a front that's looking like it will come through, and a little bit of chance for severe weather as well. For tomorrow, warming right back up to the 80s. Even if this cold front manages to make it through, it's not going to cool it off a whole lot. Unfortunately, a lot different than what we had last week. Tonight, again, 62 degrees and partly cloudy. Still a breeze coming through, but still a beautiful night to start off our Halloween weekend. Tomorrow, 83 and mostly cloudy. Those clouds are really going to be covering that big ball of butter in the sky. That wind not really pushing them out at all, and still very warm. And for the next 7 days, looking at a lot of warm conditions continuing, so still staying above average. Rain chances upping a little bit this weekend on Sunday. Maybe look out for some rainfall, but hopefully we can make it into a beautiful day for that Georgia Tech game tomorrow, and everyone can enjoy it. But now we're going to pass things off to Robert.
Yes, Melissa, looking for a big win for the FSU football team tomorrow against Georgia Tech. I like that turn of phrase you used. You called it a ball of butter. Really seeing the effects of this proverbial ball of butter over Florida today. Right now, seeing a lot of sunnier conditions, though cloudier a little bit prevailing in the northern part of the state. And we are seeing, in fact, a little bit of rain close to central Florida. We'll zoom into your local areas now. Pensacola Beach, this cloudier condition really starting to set in here. 73 and mostly cloudy, winds from the east-northeast at 5 miles per hour. So no rain we're watching for the Panhandle at the moment. But these cloudier conditions making things feel maybe a little bit more moderate compared to those who are seeing that sun right now. For the Panhandle, as I said, no really showers and storms are watching. Maybe one or two popping up towards the Apalachicola area, but overall not very much are watching here. As you get towards Jacksonville, Daytona Beach, seeing a little bit more of that rainier conditions here. 76, just pure rain on our forecast here. Winds from the northeast at northeast, at 11 miles per hour, and very, very cloudy on our ERAU weather stem, so not seeing a lot of sun or sunshine there. These showers and thunderstorms only getting their way towards Butler Beach and Daytona Beach, not dying down very much, particularly those ones out in the Atlantic. Closer inland, seen towards Orlando and Spring Hill, some of these pop-up showers and thunderstorms maybe bringing some brief downpours to those of you on I-4. As we make our way towards the south, though, things starting to clear out. 86 degrees and partly cloudy, winds from the northeast at 11 miles per hour at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. And across South Florida radar, showing a few showers and thunderstorms towards our east of Miami, but overall fairly clear conditions for those of you across the state, and seeing a lot of fairly nice conditions as you make your way south of that rain band. So for our current temperatures, seeing things holding in the 70s for most, 80s where that sun is prevailing a little bit more, and cloudier and rainier conditions off towards Jacksonville and Orlando. Man, that's 69. That is looking very beautiful conditions for those of you up there in the Jacksonville metro area. So things to enjoy today. We're going to be a little bit warmer than we saw last week. I'm sure a lot of you kind of lamenting that, but still it is going to be fairly nice aside from the dew points. Across all of Florida here, not really seeing a lot to like from these dew points. 60s across the entire area except 71 in Orlando and 72 in Key West. Dew points, of course, are a measure of how much moisture is in the atmosphere, and the higher you get, the more moisture you have. It's going to be feeling pretty muggy across the entire Sunshine State. For tonight in Florida, things going to feel fairly nice, going to still hold in the 60s here with a few showers, thunderstorms off towards Pensacola. We'll be watching over the next few days as some of these showers and thunderstorms could make their way towards the western part of the Panhandle here. Here's our last look at the future radar before I pass things off to Hayden here. Some of those showers and thunderstorms making their way east. Not going to make it to Tallahassee, so the Georgia Tech game should be fairly clear. Few clouds in the sky. Rest of the state going to feel fairly nice and going to be fairly sunny for our weekend. Hayden?
Yeah, Robert, thanks. You love to hear that. Should look clear out for the Georgia Tech game. So that's always something fantastic you want to hear about. So looking out our southeast forecast, we're going to zoom out a little bit. Look at Shore, North Carolina, 62. I actually have a buddy that lives there. Those trees showing that nice orange, red, and yellow, very beautiful out. Of course, from Nashville, Tennessee, the great country music capital of the United States, looking plenty of sunshine out, overlooking downtown. Tampa, some dark clouds, 85, but not curling or raining. And of course, New Orleans, 70 degrees, cloudy, ahead of that cold front. A great place to check out for spooky season. They have a very haunted history with some pirates, very cool. So southeast, our big weather player, we have this large low pressure, and attached to that we have a stationary front and a cold front. You can actually see quite a bit of convection over the Gulf associated in that warm sector. And then this will progress south northeastward towards the western Florida Panhandle area, bringing the threat of heavy rain, lightning, and perhaps some severe weather. And then, of course, looking out, we also have some showers pushing off behind the stalled boundary towards Jacksonville, Daytona, and including the Wilmington and North Carolina area. Some coastal showers, but nothing that's convective or severe at all nature. Temperatures in the mid to low 80s, of course, in sunny Florida, progressing to upper 70s across the southeast, and then some upper 60s and low 70s further north in the southeast as well. Montgomery, 71, a beautiful Alabama capital. Absolutely beautiful conditions to get out there. Current winds, you can see we have all this moist flow heading out across our cold front, and you can see this counter circulation associated with that low pressure system. This will usher in the severe weather. Tallahassee gusting to 17 miles an hour, so you might hold on to your hats if you are going to that game tomorrow. 36-hour forecast. That squall line is going to progress towards New Orleans and the Mobile area by 3 o'clock, and it kind of really is just going to sit there. So there's going to be quite a bit of heavy rainfall potential along the Florida Gulf Coast, along the central Gulf Coast. But the I-10 corridor into Tallahassee looks beautiful most of the day with highs topping to low 80s. The muggy cast, the higher the dew points and more moisture is in the air, as Robert's alluding to, we're going to stay in the mid-60s, so we're going to stay moderately comfortable, and that's where we're going to persist. Central Florida will stay moist in the 70s, and the southeast will be a little bit drier in the 50s. You might want to bring a little bit of a chapstick or maybe to compensate for that butterball. Charlotte weekend forecast, pretty dreary, heading into the mid-60s with cloudy skies, lows dipping into the 50s, and warming up on Tuesday, 74. So pretty seasonal conditions for them. The national weekend forecast also looking splendid if you're going to want to check some country music, some great venues, highs in the low 70s, lows in the mid-50s. And the Tampa weekend forecast, nothing but sunshine, warm temperatures in the 80s, and then New Orleans, of course, topping off our spooky forecast, beautiful temperatures in the mid-70s. Now we're going to hand over to Melissa for her forecast.
Zoom out and look at the entire country going on and some of those cold fronts that we have been having come through, seeing a little bit more about that. So right now over the entire U.S., we have a lot of high pressure sitting over much of the central area, a little area of low pressure over Texas, and another low pressure area sitting over the northwest. So that's where we get those cold fronts from and really drives our weather for this time of year, and we'll be seeing those moving in later. But right now is that stationary front sitting over us, really influencing our weather at the moment and continuing to do so this weekend. National water vapor, there's some areas of very dry conditions down over Houston associated with that low spinning down there, along with a high moisture content. And again, over by the low in the northwest, we're also seeing much higher moisture than we see in some other areas. National temperatures, seeing some really warm temperatures down in the southeast, really cool conditions out west, kind of a swap again from what we saw last week, where it was below average here and above average over in the west. And our dew points are kind of showing the same thing. Down southeast, still very humid. Out in the west, still very dry. But that's typical for what we would normally see. The west is usually a lot drier than we are because they're so far away from such a big moisture content. Again, temperature anomalies below average over in the west, especially over Texas right now. And again, over the east and especially the southeast, seeing those warmer temperatures than we would typically see this time of year, especially compared to last week. And minimum temperature anomalies are the same thing. Above average temperatures for us and some below average temperatures for out west. Again, a big swap from last week after that huge cold front that we had come through. Drought monitor, thankfully we have had some rainfall come through some parts of the country, so it has decreased our drought in some areas. Definitely helping those people out, especially out west where it was really exceptionally dry out there for quite a while. Closer look at Tallahassee, we are a little bit drier than normal, and that is going to attribute to a fire risk, slight fire risk. So if you are out in the woods, make sure you're not putting any cigarette butts out on the dry trees, dry pine needles to make sure you're not starting any wildfires. Southeast satellite, again, there's that low pressure spinning over Texas, throwing some rain over towards us. Small craft advisory out for the Texas coast. And moving up to the north, coastal flood advisory. So we kind of got some advisories going on everywhere. And we have the same thing over in the north with that low pressure system moving in. A high wind watch is also in effect and needs to be watched out for. And again, down on the other coast to the southwest, small craft advisory off the California coast. And a wind advisory over in Texas, again, associated with that low pressure moving through. Overnight temperatures, seeing higher temperatures again in the southeast, still sticking with those temperature patterns where we're above average in the south and to the east and below average out west. 36 in Salt Lake City. I'm sure glad I am not out there. I would be freezing to death. But we are seeing those colder temperatures out west again. And as those cold fronts continue to come through, hopefully we'll get a taste of winter down here. I know some of these winters we've had in the past couple of years have been quite warm. Some people from up north are really hoping that it gets a little bit cooler to get some relief from that heat that we typically have in Florida this time of year. But we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out in the next couple of months. But now we're going to take a zoom out go off the coast and see what's going on in the tropics.
Right, thank you, Melissa. We're going to make sure you guys are updated and know what's going on out in the Atlantic. Right now, tracking the tropics, been a little bit of a busier season than we thought it was going to be at this time last month. Went through the list a little bit more, got through Fiona all the way down to Carl now, but things have slowed down over the last few weeks. Let's see if it's going to stay that at that point here. Invest 95L is the next potential choice for something that could form. Right now it is at 25 miles per hour wind speed and a 1009 millibars, so fairly weak for a system, but it has organized a little bit more over the last few days. At 5 p.m. we have a 70% chance on the 5-day time period and 20% chance in the next 2 days of this system forming. No immediate threats anywhere here in the U.S., but something to just watch out for. Make sure you're watching the weather in case anything seems to happen from any of these systems here. Always important to make sure you're staying tuned, but right now, no immediate threat, nothing you need to worry about from this system. We also have another investor watching out here. This is, well, excuse me, right now we're going to talk a little bit more on this one. We have Euro and GFS ensembles, just showing that this system isn't something we're expected to be extremely prominent right now. If we did, you would see a very clear small area of pressure disturbance that would be going into some direction here. We don't see it yet, so the model is not really picking up on a huge system, but just something to still watch out for over the next few days. Disturbance number 2, not even an invest yet, just something we're watching over the next 2 days, 20% chance, and 5 days, also 20% chance. This yellow, almost big ball of butter, to use that phrase here. I like that phrase here. That system here, it is not going to really have an impact to the U.S. as well. You can see just how messy it looks. You don't have that typical tropical storm look. It just will have disorganized showers and thunderstorms, but it's something we're just watching out for. We're making sure we're doing our due diligence and informing you of what systems are out there. No immediate threat to the U.S., and you're just seeing a potential low pressure here moving its way off the coast. So even if it does form something here, not going to be a threat to here in the U.S., anywhere in the eastern coast, maybe Bermuda, but again, not something we're super concerned about at the moment. Now, let's look at how favorable conditions are for something to form. You want sea surface temperatures to be at or above 80 degrees for really good favorable development here. And we're seeing that the sea surface temperatures are definitely there, so that's not the inhibiting factor, but we do not really see, for this one particularly up here, that's not really in a favorable area, so that's why we're not too concerned about it. Looking just one more time at this main development region for the water vapor here, showing that it's fairly a little bit moist air in there, but not anything we're super concerned about. No storms that are developing very quickly here, and nothing we're immediately worried about for the U.S. Melissa?
Yeah, thanks, Robert. Thanks for telling us about that big ball of butter. Hopefully that big ball of butter will stay away from us, because whether it's a big ball of butter or a tropical storm, I don't think the U.S. needs either one of them. But we're going to move off, and now that we're getting kind of out of tropical system, we're going to go more into winter weather. So talking about jet streams, what is a jet stream? You probably heard meteorologists throw this word to get around sometimes, but not actually understand what it means. So a jet stream is a tunnel of relatively stronger winds dividing warmer and colder air, which is why we see this more in the winter time when we have cold fronts coming through and colder air coming down. These can exist at any height, but they are more common at high altitudes, and the polar jet stream is most influential in the U.S., especially in the winter time. So looking at the jet stream's anatomy, so look at that cross section. So we're seeing middle of the jet stream is where you have the strongest winds coming through center, and then it decreases as you get out, kind of like a tunnel. So think of a jet stream as a tunnel where the strongest winds are going through the center and the weakest winds are on the outside. Our polar jet example, this is what polar jet over the U.S. typically looks like during the winter time. And looking at jet stream at the surface, just an example of how a jet stream works. So a jet stream comes down below the colder air, comes up, and tends to go over the warmer air. So usually in front of a jet stream, we do have warmer air in front, and behind is colder air. And this is what drives most of our weather on a daily basis and our extreme winter weather during the winter season in the northern U.S. But that's all we have for now on jet streams. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit more, but we're going to turn things over to Hayden.
Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, that'll come in relevancy into any class you take. Additionally, we're talking about jet streams. The subtropical jet plays a big role in our severe weather, too, in addition to the polar jet. Anyways, taking it back into our local area, FSU Sportsplex, play some good soccer, frisbee there, some sunshine reflecting off those cirrus clouds, absolutely scintillating. St. George Island, you see some stratocumulus clouds overlooking the Gulf of Mexico, Panama City, Lake Bradford, all bodies of water. Look at that kind of sunset. It's going to be beautiful over Lake Bradford. Head out there if you can. On local radar, nothing but sunny skies prevailing across away from Dowling Park, Lake City, Tallahassee, or towards Ponce de Leon. Anywhere you're driving I-10, you just want to bring some sunglasses because you might be driving into the sun. Current temperatures, 80 degrees in Tallahassee as of 6:20, so very warm temperatures for October. Crawfordville, 78, and then a little bit cooler by the water. Apalachicola, 76. Donaldsonville, 77 towards the Alabama border. So wherever you go, it's going to be quite warm. Tonight's forecast, temperatures dropping off into the mid to upper 60s with maybe some patchy fog. So as we do have some pretty moist conditions out there. So if you're heading for the tailgates in the morning hours, maybe some fog hanging around, but it should be pretty clear and great conditions. Tonight, if you're into stargazing, you want to look at Alpha Centauri, Betelgeuse, all of those. We have a 13% waxing crescent. I'm not sure exactly what that means, to be honest, but we should have pretty good conditions to see the skies, so it's going to be clear out. That's all that matters. So we have some low clouds building into the Tallahassee region, coming in from the northeast wind. Some cloud cover will build in towards the afternoon towards the west, but you can also see it clears out. So 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock after you're celebrating the FSU victory, maybe at Madison Social, it's going to be perfect. And we're going to win, I have no doubt about it. Tomorrow's forecast, 83 degrees in Tallahassee, sunshine, Monticello 81. A little bit cooler into Georgia, around 80 degrees. And around the Big Bend, of course, warmer at 84 degrees. But nothing sunshine. It should be a beautiful game day Saturday in Tallahassee, lots to do. Tallahassee International, 80 degrees, partly cloudy skies. If you are taking an international flight from Tallahassee, please let us know on Instagram or any social medias. I'm very curious where that goes to. Nothing, but like I said, if you are going international, clear skies, good travels. I'm looking out across the nation. The only spot, maybe Dallas-Fort Worth, with a cool drizzle at 56 degrees. But other than that, it is okay to go. And you can see the little trend down, so that's sad. But it's okay. Coastal conditions. Panama City, maybe a thunderstorm icon in the afternoon. We can't rule out something coming in late. But I think most of the day, actually, it's going to be clear. So I would assume most of the day is actually going to be sunny for you. So don't take this into too much consideration. Surf will be 2 feet, and the wind will be south-southwest at 10 knots. 7-day forecast. Wow. That is amazing. 81 degrees. 80s actually all through the week, and lows dropping off to the low 60s. Now we're going to hand off to Robert for his forecast.
Right. Thank you, Hayden. Those 80s out there, I sure would like those 60s again, but hey, it's personal preference. Let's cheer on our Noles this weekend at volleyball. FSU at Syracuse. This is going to be in Syracuse. So 60s, I like those 60s. Not sure I like those 40s, though. It's going to be 7 p.m. 48, 11 p.m. 41, almost getting close to that 30-degree mark there, so definitely bundle up if you're heading up to Syracuse. Here's the future radar, just showing a little bit of windier conditions. Those clouds just kind of running away, though, from Syracuse, not seeing a lot of cloud cover expected for the evening there, and no showers or thunderstorms either in the Syracuse area. Women's golf, though, going to be in Wilmington, North Carolina. A little bit more pleasing conditions here. 56 at 7 a.m., warming all the way up to 66, 69. A little bit of sunshine, that ball of butter, if you will, right there. Just kind of sneaking its way in. Might see some clouds covering it, though, so we'll have to see. But here's our future radar. Might want to be taking a little bit of a raincoat. Chance for a spotty shower or thunderstorm. That's mostly going to be off the coast, though, so you should be fine in Wilmington. But just stay tuned and make sure you're looking at your radar, your weather app, staying informed because you might have a spotty shower or thunderstorm. Puerto Rico challenge, though, definitely a lot warmer, 83, 86, 85. So feeling those 80s there and rainier conditions for that in Palmas del Mar, Puerto Rico. It's going to be on Saturday as well for women's tennis. And here's our future radar showing easterly winds prevailing here, but seeing those showers and thunderstorms not really on the eastern edge of the island, but you might see a stray one or two. So again, if you are flying out to Puerto Rico for Saturday, don't know how you get there right now because there's like one flight left at the airport from here, but if you find a way, have fun and stay safe in Palmas del Mar. Women's basketball as well, 80, 79, and 77. That's here in Tallahassee, and also here in Tallahassee, football. FSU trying to go back to its winning ways against Georgia Tech, 73, 78, 79. Beautiful conditions there, but even though that looks nice, still going to see some sun, so make sure you bring some sunscreen if you're going to cheer on our Noles at Doak Campbell Stadium tomorrow. It's going to be at noon. And for our future radar for both of those events, going to be easterly winds prevailing, maybe a spotty shower or not really thunderstorm though, but cloudier conditions prevailing. It's going to feel nice compared to that Wake Forest game where it was really a beatdown from that sun. But 6:25 p.m. still showing those clouds prevailing in the area, and overall a very nice day to be enjoying your time here in Tallahassee and enjoying the local events around here. You might even find yourself a spare ball of butter at one of your local fairs in the Tallahassee area. But overall, very nice conditions. Cheer on your Noles. Your volleyball is going to be going on at golf. We're going to have soccer. We're going to have football. It's all happening this weekend. Make sure to support FSU. So now I'm going to pass things back off to Hayden.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. Now that we take a look at those great sports that encompass this capital city, we'll take a look out for the around town forecast. Halloween weekend, lots of festivities going on. But right now, if you're heading out, sunny conditions, clear skies all through the day. Tallahassee future radar. We can see some clouds shifting in from the southeast, maybe some fog mixing in with that. And then across the afternoon, we're just going to see partly cloudy skies, maybe some upper level clouds, but nothing too much blocking, just some high cirrus clouds. Overnight, if you're going to College Town, Recess, Madison Social, on the Friday night block party, for instance, a great concert going on. 73 degrees at 8 p.m., so you won't need a sweater. And then dropping off to 66 by 2 a.m. So maybe if you want to bring a light sweater if you're sensitive, but overall, it should be quite mild. Where you can just wear your tank top, t-shirt, all your Knowles gear, and it should be fine. Oh, like you, dog. That's awesome. Morning dog walk forecast, 64 9 a.m. It's going to be perfect. Your dog's going to be very happy. 71 degrees 11 a.m. It won't be too hot to shed its fur. It'll be great for it. Saturday drive forecast, 9 a.m. 64, 74 at noon, 3 p.m. 80 degrees. Just make sure you bring your sunglasses so you don't get blinded driving. Airport delays, Tallahassee, like once again, those international flights that do not exist, no travel delays there. And throughout much of the nation, of course, we should be pretty set going for the airport. Another thing, shout out to, is tonight they have the Creature Black Lagoon over at Wakula, so check that out. And also checking that out, we're going to go to the desk and see what they have to say.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Hayden. Again, a very beautiful night here in Tallahassee. A little bit on the warmer side, but overall enjoying these conditions as we go into a nice filled weekend up with a lot of events around Tallahassee.
Absolutely, and that cloud cover is going to set in, keeping that big ball of butter at bay and letting us get a break from the heat a little bit. Still going to be warm, but not as sunny.
I really like that alliteration, big ball of butter. But yes, in fact, talking about balls of butter, we do have a lot of local events around here, state fairs, things happening related to those events, but also, of course, FSU sports going to take on Georgia Tech tomorrow, hopefully get back to its winning ways.
Absolutely. So if you do go out to a fair or they have it this weekend, maybe you should try a fried big ball of butter. I know they have it at the Florida State Fair. I think they have it at Texas, right?
Yeah, I'm from Dallas, Texas. We have the state fair there. We enjoy our big balls of butter, fried, nice, delicious. We also have fried cookies and cream, man. I'm so excited for the state fair. Hopefully the Florida State Fair will have something like a nice big ball of butter to really sink your teeth into and enjoy as we're going into this fair season here in Tallahassee.
Absolutely. I don't think we really need big balls of butter to eat, but they definitely are tasty. So if you do get a chance to try one, you may want to try it out. May not like it. Might be a little too greasy.
Yeah, I would say that definitely it's very, very enjoyable conditions around here for this sports weekend. As I said, Georgia Tech we're taking on. We also have, of course, the golf is going to be playing in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we have FSU traveling all the way up to Syracuse. So if you're making your way up there, might enjoy FSU sports as well.
Absolutely. It's going to be a big game day weekend, a lot of time to enjoy. So make sure you're making the most of it. Try to avoid that rain if it happens to pop up, because we do have a little bit of a severe weather threat. But for now, follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/FSU weather.
And you can also watch us live on YouTube, which you're probably doing right now, at youtube.com/FSU weather, and on Instagram as well. Send us your pictures at FSU weather.
Right. It was just a beautiful day here. Of course, we have football up tomorrow. Make sure you're sending us your pictures if you're going to the game at Doak and having a good time there. So again, thank you for joining us for FSU weather tonight. We've had a jam-packed day, a lot of weather watching, a lot of warmer conditions here, a little bit of rain in Dallas, Fort Worth. But from all of us here and Melissa, have fun enjoying your balls of butter.